Hello and welcome to Down to Disness, a segment where I examine one of Disney's famous animated movies, give you the history of it, fun facts, and we take a look at the scope of its impact on pop culture today. Down to Disness. I couldn't think of a better movie to start with than Disney's first ever animated feature, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Full disclosure, Snow White has always been my least favorite princess. I found her really boring, annoying to listen to, and entirely unrelatable and outdated. But after rewatching Snow White, I have found an intense and entirely new appreciation for the movie Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, and I'm gonna tell you why. I was primarily astonished with three things: the dwarfs, the music, and the impact that this movie had on the field of animation forever. Snow White started a trend that a lot of other Disney movies followed afterwards, which was having the supporting characters play a bigger role than the protagonist herself. In Sleeping Beauty, the three fairies have 100% more lines than Sleeping Beauty. In Cinderella, Jack and Gus steal the show. And this all started with the Seven Dwarfs. The dwarfs have the most lines, the most jokes, and in the case of Grumpy, the most touching character development. But there are a few things that I am left wondering about in regards to the dwarves. Where did they come from? How did they find each other? Are they related? Are they just friends? Are they more than friends? Why did they mine for diamonds? What did they do with them? Did they take them to Mars? Where are the diamonds going? The fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter. The dwarves are presented to us for the sole purpose of classic vaudeville entertainment. Just like Snow White, who's the picture-perfect idea of a 1920s flapper girl with her high voice and her short hair. Dopey is really interesting though, because despite his lack of dialogue, he's most people's favorite dwarf. What? But what struck me about Dopey in my rewatching of Snow White was how much he's like a dog. He's so dog-like. Did you guys know this? She shakes water off of him like a dog. He chases a bar of soap like a dog. He sleeps like a dog. He's straight up a dog. And everyone's other favorite dwarf is Grumpy, which didn't make sense to me before, but sure does now. Grumpy goes through a huge change over the course of this film. He's the only dwarf who doesn't immediately like Snow White. All of them immediately take to her, and Grumpy is really skeptical. Makes a lot of comments about the treacherous ways of women. But then by the end, he's the one who takes the most action to save her. Grumpy to the rescue. Who even cares about the prince? Am I right? Am I right? There were a lot of hilarious reject names for the dwarves. Jaunty, Dirty, Nifty, Shifty, Blabby, Gloomy, Awful. Awful would have been my favorite dwarf. Here's something though, I didn't think that Snow White would make me quite so depressed. It made me real sad. I cried, and I was like, wait, I don't even like this princess. Why am I crying now? She's not a strong protagonist, but it makes sense to me now, in retrospect, because it makes her death really tragic that she's this sweet, gullible character who got tricked into dying in the stupidest way ever, eating a poison apple. I think the thing that made me feel for Snow White the most is the soundtrack. Most people know about Hi Ho, Someday My Prince Will Come, and Whistle While You Work, but there are so many other great songs on the soundtrack. There's a combo song at the beginning of the movie called I'm Wishing / One Song. One song, you understand that Snow White's a slave girl, you understand that the queen is evil, and you understand that the prince and Snow are into each other. It's all in that one song. It's like a very explanatory song. And then there's a song called With a Smile and a Song. It's after Snow White gets attacked by tree demons, you know, that part where she gets attacked by tree demons. And it is the perfect explanation of her never-ending optimism. There's no use in grumbling when raindrops come tumbling. Remember you're the one who can fill the world with sunshine. Nice rhyming there. That song, it's the total embodiment of Snow White. A lot of people dislike the music in Snow White, and I think it's because Snow White's voice is super annoying. But let's talk about that voice for a second, because it's also super interesting. Walt specifically wanted Snow White to sound like a little girl. The part eventually went to an 18-year-old girl named Adriana Castellotti, who was the daughter of a vocal coach in Los Angeles. Her father was on the phone with a Disney executive, and she heard the conversation and just got on the phone and started talking about how she wanted to audition, and her father was really mad. He was like, get off the phone, I'm talking to the Disney company. And the executive was like, no, wait, she sounds pretty good, let's have her come in and audition. So the procedure for handling voice actors was so new that it was insane. Adriana Castellotti did Snow White and got paid like $950, $970 for the whole job, and then was banned by Disney from ever being a voice actor in anything ever again. From Disney's perspective, she was the embodiment of Snow White, she was the voice, and he had to protect that voice from being used other places. Surprisingly, she's never had bad feelings about this. She's been eternally grateful to be Snow White and be a Disney legend, so that turned out well. Like I said, this was the first ever full-length animated feature in history, and everybody, including Walt's wife, thought it was gonna fail. But Walt and his team believed in it so much. Originally they had a $250,000 budget for the movie, but it went up to $1.5 million, which is absolutely insane for a movie in the 1930s. There was a point where Bank of America refused to loan Walt more money without seeing some of the film, but it just wasn't ready. So when Walt set up a screening for it, he acted out a lot of the unfinished songs, a lot of the dialogue where the animation wasn't fully finished, and they still loved it! They went crazy for it. Blah. They were mad for Snow White. This movie was also the first movie ever to have a motion picture soundtrack. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs was also the first Disney movie that used the multiplane camera. It was used in a few Disney shorts before Snow White, but it was the first full-length feature to use the multiplane. The multiplane camera was an invention that Disney Studios made to allow animation cells to show more depth, and this had never been done before. Walt Disney himself was awarded a very special Oscar for Snow White that featured Oscar and then 7 little Oscars for the dwarves. The film was finally released on December 21st, 1937 at the Carthay Circle Theater in Los Angeles. Fun fact, the Carthay Circle Theater and restaurant at Disney's California Adventure is of course based off of the same theater where Snow White premiered. That's why the interior is totally Snow Whiteified. It was hugely successful. The profits allowed Disney to build their still in existence studio lot in Burbank. People don't talk about it enough, but Snow White changed everything. Everything. It is so amazing to me that Snow White is still popular. Little girls still know who Snow White is. She's still a face character at Disney parks. They just built a new Snow White themed ride at Disney World in 2014. Snow is one of very few Disney characters who have a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I think Walt Disney would be so proud that this passion project that he put so much effort and money and time into is still popular over 80 years later. I'm really pleased that I decided to go back and rewatch this movie. This is the whole reason why I want to do this vlog series, is so that I can understand more about every single Disney movie, refresh my memory of what they're all about, and find a newfound respect for each and every one of them. So even if you're like me and you weren't always a fan of Snow White as a character, you gotta respect her movie, straight up. Thank you for watching Down to Disness. I hope this was cool for you. It was cool for me. The process was really fun and I'm excited to do more of these in the future. I don't think I'm gonna go in order. I think I'm gonna jump around based on eras of Disney movies. And let me know in the comments below what your favorite thing about Snow White is, or who your favorite Disney princess is. I'll see you really soon for another video on this channel. Bye!
Break down the armor, all things in armor, but all within go on through a thin skin.
Remember, you're the one who can feel the world.